What do you think? Hi everyone! I'm super excited because XPPen sent me their brand new Artist Pro 19 Gen 2 and it's a drawing display. So I have a painting that I've been meaning to get to and I will ink and color it and then share my thoughts via voiceover. Just quickly for clarity, XPPen sent this to me so I can share my honest review as an artist. As this isn't a paid sponsorship, I get to share my own thoughts and opinions and they're authentic to my own experience. Join me for an unboxing and I will paint and you can follow along me for the journey and then for my thoughts on the experience. And then at the end, I will do a final painting reveal. And then for quick context, I usually paint on my Wacom Cintiq, which is over behind me. It's kind of installed on a hefty arm, so I didn't want to uninstall it. But I have this space reserved, and it's usually for like Etsy, packing Etsy orders, or for painting traditionally, sketching. It's like my open space. So I think for this week, this will be the cozy new home for this Artist Pro 19. And I will get set up and cozy in this area. Thank you so much XPPen, and thank you, and I hope you enjoy this video.
Let's start off the unboxing. The box design is so visually striking. On the first layer is the drawing display itself. The drawing display is quite light without being flimsy or delicate. There's a nice sturdiness to it. Next is a Coleman verified color calibration certificate, very official. And onto the rest of the box. Here I am unwrapping what is the pencil case. It encloses pen nibs and actually 2 entire pens. I like that you get to choose between a slim pen or a classic thicker pen. So here I am opening the clamshell. Now this box has the regional power adapters for outlets. So there's different countries, so I only needed to use one for the United States. Next, this is the little kit for the wireless shortcut remote. The cable is optional because this remote has Bluetooth options. And I'm unwrapping it now. There's a scrolling wheel, and then the buttons can be customized for whatever shortcuts you need. It's a nifty little tool. This next box contains streamlined cable options. The Artist Pro 19 has 2 USB-C inputs, and if your laptop or computer has a USB-C, you only need 1 cable, which is pretty awesome. I use my PC tower, so I used a 3-in-1 cable, HDMI, USB-A, USB-C, and then a power adapter cable, which was the power outlet, and then the USB-C. But still very streamlined and straightforward. Now this box contained a lot of fun accessories inside, so let's take a look. First is a little handy drawing glove. Next is a whole another set of pen nibs. And then here is a cleaning cloth and it says XPPen on it. It's actually really nice. Finally, we have the warranty and then the setup guide. Okay, time to take out the drawing display itself. Unboxing was so fun. I felt like every detail was designed with the artist in mind. You can probably tell by the way I'm handling it that it's quite light even for its size, and then it has these legs that help it tilt back at an angle. I really like the size. It's not too large and it's not too small. And with that, we're ready to start setting up the rest and connecting it to my computer. Then it's onto the website to download the driver. It was super fast and easy, and then it's on to calibrating. I was super impressed because even before calibrating, the pen was so precise. Sometimes when you set up on a new drawing display, there's that uncomfortable gap between the mouse cursor pointer and your pen, where it's not aligned, and I didn't experience it at all with this. Here's a quick look at what the pen settings look like on the driver. But I didn't have to touch any settings because the lines looked amazing. All I'm gonna do is try not to gush too much about the line quality on this. Look at these lines. Look at that thin to thick paper. It is gorgeous. I honestly think my lines never looked better. I was so excited that I just jumped right into some gesture sketching. So let's watch, and I'm gonna rave all about the pen pressure. So the wow factor was definitely the line quality. The pen pressure sensitivity was so amazing. My line art was absolutely flowing and it felt magical. There's nuance, ease, smoothness, fluidity. Okay, I'm not even kidding, it was so good. I was so impressed. It made me overcome with this urge to run to my Cintiq to revisit how I can change those settings to match the XPPen Artist Pro 19 to achieve that same line quality and fluidity on my existing drawing display. That's impressive. I moved on to cleaning up and inking my rough sketch. I actually think combined with the ultra sensitive pen pressure, the screen texture is super nice. It's not glassy and slippery, but it's not over textured either, so it just felt like my lines flowed very smoothly. Sometimes I find doing line art a little tedious, but I did not find that at all because the pen display was so fun to draw on. I genuinely don't remember if there was a time I enjoyed doing inking or line art more than with this Artist Pro 19, so that's really saying something. Thank you, XPPen. Also, here's a fun trick. I just inked one segment, duplicated it, moved it up, aligned it, and I keep doing that until the whole carousel bar is inked. I'm all about working smart, and that means the faster we can get to the coloring process, which is my favorite. So here we go. I was really excited to experience the color capabilities. First, I just did some loose color keys so I can kind of plan and explore color palette possibilities without worrying about painting within the lines. I think to test the color capabilities, I was playing with ideas of like different gradients and like soft shifts and transitions between colors. Like this one's really fun. There's a lot of like purples and blues mingling with each other. I did a couple variations to explore, but ultimately I kept envisioning a lavender palette in my head, so that's what I ended up going with. Next is laying down flat colors just to establish every layer. I use a combination of methods to fill in the flat colors. Sometimes I literally color in with a brush. It depends on the area and what I instinctually feel would be the fastest or most efficient. Sometimes I use the selection tool, which is great to select big masses of color and then use the paint bucket to fill. I love the coloring process, it's so relaxing. And I think the hardest part is picking a palette because there's so many possibilities. I actually really like how the ink drawing came out, so I actually think I might make this available as like a downloadable, printable drawing so you can color it yourself. I'll make it so it's like 8.5 by 11, so you can just print it out on computer paper. I think that'll be really fun to share, and then if you do color it, I'd love to see it if you tag me on social media like Instagram. But yeah, please stay tuned for that. I'll probably share it on Gumroad soon. So now the flat colors are pretty much established. I was excited and played with gradients, but then I thought a background would be nice to add a punch of value contrast. So this is a time-lapse of me putting together quite a simple background. It's just dreamy clouds, adding some splatters in the back to mimic distant stars. Let me know if you want a full tutorial. And then I am rendering details now, so I am really playing and leaning into adding color variation. I was really going for, that prism, iridescent, holographic to feel really magical. I pulled in some reference photos just to keep me inspired and aligned. Finally, it was time for rendering and finishing touches. I painted in a lot of lovely gradations and subtle hue shifts, and this display really showed off all the color. I'll check back in when I finish for the final reveal.
So I finished my painting and now I'll do the final review and then I'll share my final thoughts, including a pro and con list. And to be honest, about the pro and con list, I feel like I don't really have cons. I just have some observations that you might want to consider and keep in mind in case it suits or doesn't suit your preference. They're really nitpicky details, but I'll get into it. Let's take a look at the final painting and then I will get into my review.
Here is the final illustration. I had so much fun working on this art and experiencing this drawing display. The subtle color gradations are really evident here, and the XPPen Artist Pro 19 captured everything beautifully. Ultimately, I was super impressed by XPPen and I loved my experience. So what's the verdict? Milo and I are here to share a review. For some context, here's a history of drawing displays I've used. Starting with the Wacom Cintiq, this one is the 22HD seen here. I've been painting using Wacom for what seems like forever, first with pen tablets like the Graphire Pearl and Intuos pen tablet, and I've worked on a Wacom Cintiq for the past 10 years. It's definitely been a worthwhile but pricey investment. For the longest time, this brand dominated the market without many competitors, but it can be such an expensive investment, so I've always been curious about more affordable options. I also have a hand-me-down Apple iPad and pencil. I love how convenient and portable it is, so I can draw from anywhere, but to be honest, I can never quite get the hang of the pen. It might just be me, let me know. I've tried a paper texture screen and playing with a pressure graph all the time. I just can't get the expressive, nuanced line quality that I'm looking for. The slim, heavy pen also cramps my hands sometimes. It's great for sketching, but then I transfer everything to the Cintiq for a level of polish and finish. And now enter the XPPen Artist Pro 19. I was so impressed at the quality and performance. This is a formidable competitor. Let's start our pros and cons with the highlights. The ultra-sensitive pen pressure was my #1 favorite aspect of this product. Remember the sketch from earlier? I actually drew it on the iPad initially from the same photo reference, and I wasn't satisfied, so I redrew it on the Artist Pro 19. Can you tell a difference? The iPad drawing is on the right, and then the center left drawing is the Artist Pro 19. I think the Artist Pro 19, it feels luxurious. The lines are silky, they're flowing, I'm conveying nuance and having fun. It feels really good to draw with. On the iPad, it feels sketchier, it's like scratchier. I'm just trying to convey the idea, it just exists on paper, but it's not flowing with feeling. I think you can feel the difference. Okay, I'm done hating on my iPad. It's been there for me, and I love it in its own ways. Let's talk about this display. The 4K resolution is an experience, and the color handling is exceptional. You can tell from their website that they take color handling very seriously. Color calibration, color spaces, they've really thought it through. Also, my filming camera can't quite capture or do justice to what the monitor looked like in person. You'll just have to take my word for it, it looked gorgeous. The color palette I chose to work with was very vivid. You had a lot of gradations, transitions from warm and cools of the same color. I thought it all looked so great from the monitor. So color was definitely a highlight of this XPPen Artist Pro 19. Next, let's talk about the scale and size of this product. This is extremely subjective, and I think this is the ultimate variable that comes down to personal preference. I found the size so friendly, not too large that it overwhelms your desk, but definitely large enough to feel like your canvas is expansive and comfortable. Look on this website at how thin it is. That's 0.84 inches thin, and then it's 12 by 18 inches in width and height. Sometimes when a screen is too small, you're constantly zooming in and out, and it's hard to navigate keeping the big picture in mind and then zooming in for all the details. This one didn't feel cramped or too expansive. It was just right. I also think your personal taste and art style might inform your preference for scale. For example, I like to have a lot of details, maybe too much, so I like having a bigger screen so I don't feel too cramped. But maybe if you have a more graphic or shape-forward style, maybe a smaller screen is something that you might not mind. Here's where we get into more nuanced conversation. It's not as portable as a smaller display. If you're traveling and know you'll have a stationary desk at your destination, this is the way to go. Like if you're visiting relatives, working from home somewhere else, going on an artist retreat, great. But are you going to take it everywhere with you for daily cafe sketching? I don't know, it's a little large and unwieldy for that. But I would like to try sometime, so I could try and then report back. I would say it is portable, but it also depends on the scenario. But I will say the scale, portability, and easy setup does make it very attractive. Sometimes when you try a new drawing display, it takes some time to adjust and get a feel for the pen, but this was exceptionally comfortable and I dove in right away. Okay, shall we get into cons? This is the most obvious con here. Remember these legs that come out? Well, they're fixed at a certain height and tilt, so they don't adjust, and I really wish they did. If you watch me here in this clip, I'm actually trying to set it down on the table surface right now, and then I couldn't believe that it hadn't touched the table surface yet because it's so low. But this is probably very personal and ranges from person to person. For example, I'm quite petite, so the table has to be quite low for my arms to comfortably be aligned with the table and my feet to hit the floor. But then my neck, you can see, is craning downwards a lot, which isn't great if you're drawing for hours on end. But I could get like my own laptop raiser, and then I noticed on their website they actually have stands. So I think I was just relieved and happy to see that they had thought this through and have a solution to accommodate for this. So yeah, that was just like my biggest complaint. Otherwise, I really enjoyed the product. Earlier I said I didn't really have cons, but I had some FYIs and considerations. Here are some of my observations, and they really have to do with the accessories. It is really cool that XPPen offers a lot of accessories and different features, and it can empower different artists depending on their needs. But my two examples will be the roller stylus and then the shortcut remote with the wheel. So on the stick pen, which I normally use, there's a roller button. Here are my thoughts.
There's a scrolling button. It's not really in my habit to use it, and I could see if someone's really particular, they don't really use it, they might not want it there, it might be in the way. I didn't think it was that disruptive, but yeah, there's like a little bit of like those details where maybe it suits your preference and maybe it doesn't.
Same with this little shortcut keyboard. I just don't have the habit to use it, and I love my normal typing keyboard shortcuts. And I just can't imagine not having my typing keyboard near me anyways. So yeah, just some details that felt a little underutilized, very nitpicky observations. Maybe they'll suit you if you build the habit towards using them, or maybe they'll be underutilized by you too, but it is nice to have the option in case they do end up helping your workflow. On a more positive note of details, I noticed a lot of features like low blue light and a screen cooling feature, and I thought that showed a lot of thoughtfulness for artists and their comfort, so that was a nice touch for sure. I actually was drawing, painting, filming all of this during a heat wave in LA. That's why you see sometimes it's like a very warm lighting temperature because we were just batting down the hatches, AC, all the windows and blinds closed. But anyways, I never experienced any overheating. There was very, very, very subtle warmth if I was drawing for hours, and it was like a little reminder to take a break, but it was extremely subtle, like a comforting warmth. So those were most of my thoughts on features and accessories.
I had an amazing time, and I was really inspired that there's so many products out there now. I feel like as artists, as individuals, we all have different styles, we have different needs. So I hope everyone's able to find the offerings out there that fit their style the most. I feel like it's very empowering that there's so much out there now. Like XPPen alone, like just seeing their website, they have so many different size ranges and affordability. It's pretty awesome. Thank you so much XPPen. Again, your Artist Pro 19 was awesome. I had so much fun. Thank you so much everyone for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!